Uja. See how we're doing on sound. Check 1, 2. Testing, testing, testing. Okay. Too bad that's in the video. All right. Uja and Dua for tuning in for tonight's edition of Ancient African Adorations. This is day 6 of this week-long observance. If you know me, you know I don't like to call it a week. I call it a strength. So we've been observing the strength of HetHeru, goddess HetHeru, as she made her journey from Kemet to Nubia and then from Nubia back to Kemet. My name is Arit Tachia Ahmet, and this is Ancient African Adorations, brought to you by Light Being Wellness Center and Asmataji Temple. And we're very grateful to our spiritual preceptors, Say by Man, Say by Jah at Sema Institute, Temple of Aset, Dr. Mwada Ashby and Dr. Karen Ashby. And I've been studying these wisdom teachings for a while now, and I'm putting focus on the music, putting it to music. And we are following the Natarian calendar put out by Temple of Amun. Oh, it's April. And these are, I guess they're pretty standard ancient Egyptian holidays. I've been studying different calendars, and they're very similar. They may just be like a few days difference. But here's the one I've been following. As you can see, we're on day 6. And also tonight at 10:36 is the full moon. So we're right in sync because the full moon is in Sidereal Taurus. And in this system, at this Asmataji temple, that would be the time of Dua Djehuty, the full moon, and Dua HetHeru, which is represents the constellation of Sidereal Taurus. So who knows what we'll be doing at 10:36? We will be in alignment with the full moon, no matter what we're doing. And we have covered the parables of Judy because when HetHeru was sent to the earth and traveled to Nubia, she was sent there by her father Ra because he needed her to eliminate the unrighteous because they had forgotten him and he wasn't having that. So he sent HetHeru there to wipe them out. And while she was there, she enjoyed her job so much that she forgot why she was sent there and started killing the innocent people as well. And so Djehuty was sent to bring her back, and he appeared in the form of a baboon, and he managed to tell her 4 parables plus the wisdom of origins creation. And by the end of the 4th parable, she had remembered her divinity, remembered who she was, and they made the journey back to Kemet. So I've been taking the parables as translated by Dr. Mwada Ashby from African Religion, Volume 5. And we've covered the introduction, the first parable, the wisdom of creation, this 3rd parable, and tonight's the 4th parable, and tomorrow we have the conclusion. I noticed that some traditions have 7 days for this holiday, and on this calendar it's 6 days. And I was going to combine the 3rd and 4th parable, but I decided to add the 7th day for the conclusion. And so if you want to know more about the myth or know more about the netters, then I recommend you watch the previous sessions. Okay. And I didn't, behind me I had the tapestry with the goddess HetHeru's image. It's a photograph that I took outside the temple of Dendera, the temple of HetHeru at Dendera. And then I had it put on one of these silk screens. Well, it's not a silk screen, it's a wall hanging. And if you'd like to get one, there's a link in my link tree where you can order from the same company that I ordered these from. And over here, I hadn't set it up before. I have an altar. So you can see it. It's not really an altar, I guess it is. With HetHeru, and it's HetHeru statue, Sekhmet, and I have a sistrum. Let's see if I can let these people see. I have the HetHeru, Sekhmet, and the sistrum. And I also have some Sekhmet oil, flower essence. So maybe you can smell it through the Wi-Fi. Smell it? I got this oil at the House of Life Hotel in Abydos. And I got this wonderful sistrum outside of the temple at Abydos, and it has the likeness of HetHeru plus the 3 upper aritus. Alright, so we have our opening chants, and then we're going to have a few selections, including ones to Sekhmet tonight, and then we'll get to the parable. So this is one of the chants that's always offered before reading from the HetHeru or the sacred text. Translates, Om is the phrase that most people associate with India, but you can actually find it on the Leiden papyrus, and it refers to the mystical, unknown name of the creator, who we call Nebuchadnezzar. Well, not of the creator, of the almighty spirit we know as Nebuchadnezzar. Then Kepera, Nebuchadnezzar came forth as a cosmic force of the creator, Kepera, and then later came forth as a human form of Asar. So this is a tribute to those 3 deities. Kepra Sarom, Om Nebuchadnezzar 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 Kepra Sarom. Kepra Sarom, Om Nebuchadnezzar Kepra Sarom, Om Nebuchadnezzar Kepra Sarom, Om Nebuchadnezzar Kepra Sarom, Om Nebuchadnezzar Kepra Sorrow. Sorrow. Okay, we'll do the other one for Nebuchadnezzar. This one is called Ma-Pu-U, and that phrase is from the scriptures from the Temple of Aset, and it appears when Ra had been poisoned by Aset, but at the time nobody knew that, and he had called the gods and goddesses over to try to help him, and they were all saying, Ma-Pu-U, 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 what's going on, what's going on? So, looks like there's a question. Well, thank you very much. I give off a calming and accepting vibe. That must be because I'm deep in with the teachings and the music. Thank you. So they're saying, what's going on? What's going on? So in this song, it means no matter what's going on. And then nemu nemu, remain in the stillness. And then the last part is, when you know Nebuchadnezzar, you know everything. A lot of times when I'm having a low moment, I say, I don't know. Or when I'm just doubting myself, I say, I don't know. And then I have to catch myself. Well, if you know Nebuchadnezzar, you know everything. Ma-Pu, nemu nemu, Ma-Pu, nemu nemu. No matter what's going on, remain in the stillness. No matter what's going on, remain in the stillness. When you know Nebuchadnezzar, you know everything. 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 Ma-Pu, nemu nemu, Ma-Pu, nemu nemu. No matter what's going on, remain in the stillness. No matter what's going on, remain in the stillness. When you know Nebuchadnezzar, you know everything. When you know Nebuchadnezzar, you know everything. You know everything. You know everything. A tap. All right, I made some tea, but I forgot to drink it. Alright, so now we're going to move into some chants or hekau for HetHeru and segment. start off with the sistrum. And this is a chant from the Temple of Shattau-Neter, Temple of Aset. I don't know what's going on with my little dog. And it's Dua HetHeru Netrita, Adorations to HetHeru, the Great Goddess. And then Dua HetHeru Sekema. And HetHeru is considered the Great Goddess. Not only is she the goddess of love, beauty, and passion, and she's associated with music and dancing, she's considered the Great Goddess because she, forgot who she was after she became Sekhmet, and then was able to remember her divinity by listening to the cosmic mind. And that is her lesson for us, that if we forget our divinity, we can tune into the cosmic mind and bring ourselves back. And if we are too far gone to remember the cosmic mind, if we just pick up the teachings, or we can start chanting the sacred words of power, or if we can just breathe. Djehuty is also associated with breathing. He has a book of breathing. It's called the Book of Breathing. And we can bring ourselves back. So that's why HetHeru is considered the Great Goddess. So I'm going to sing it a few times by myself, and then I'm going to sing it where there's a space for you to respond, call and response. That's the African tradition. And when you play the system, it is eliminating chaos. Dua HetHeru Netrita. Dua HetHeru Netrita. Dua HetHeru Netrita. Dua HetHeru Netrita. Dua HetHeru Sekema. Dua HetHeru Sekema. Dua HetHeru Sekema. Dua HetHeru Netrita. Dua HetHeru Sekema. Dua HetHeru Netrita. Dua HetHeru Sekema. Okay, now let's try a little call and response. Dua HetHeru Netrita. Dua HetHeru Netrita. Dua HetHeru Netrita. Dua HetHeru Netrita. Dua HetHeru Sekema. Dua HetHeru Sekema. Dua HetHeru Sekema. Dua HetHeru. Dua HetHeru Sekema. Dua HetHeru Netrita. Dua HetHeru Netrita. Dua HetHeru Netrita. Dua HetHeru Netrita. That's it. The next one, Nikpu HetHeru, Nikpu HetHeru, Nikpu HetHeru Hetep, is I am HetHeru. I am the cosmic force of beauty. I see the beauty in all things. I'm walking the beauty path. Nikpu HetHeru, I am HetHeru. I am Nikpu Hetep. I am peace. And then Nikpu HetHeru Niterita. Nikpu HetHeru, I am HetHeru, the great goddess. Nikpu HetHeru, Nikpu HetHeru, Nikpu HetHeru, Nikpu Hetep, Nikpu HetHeru, Nikpu HetHeru, Nikpu HetHeru, Nikpu Hetep, Nikpu HetHeru Niterita, Nikpu HetHeru Niterita, Nikpu HetHeru Niterita, Nikpu HetHeru Niterita, Nikpu HetHeru, Nikpu HetHeru, Nikpu HetHeru, Nikpu Hetep, Nikpu HetHeru, Nikpu HetHeru, Nikpu HetHeru, Nikpu Hetep, Nikpu HetHeru Niterita, Nikpu HetHeru Niterita, Nikpu HetHeru Niterita, Nikpu HetHeru Niterita, Nikpu HetHeru, Nikpu Hetep, Nikpu HetHeru, Nikpu Hetep, Nikpu HetHeru, Nikpu Hetep, Nikpu HetHeru, Nikpu Nikpu HetHeru, Nikpu HetHeru, Nikpu HetHeru, Nikpu Hetep, Nikpu HetHeru, Nikpu HetHeru, Nikpu HetHeru, Nikpu Hetep, Nikpu HetHeru Niterita, Nikpu HetHeru Niterita, Nikpu HetHeru Niterita, Nikpu HetHeru Niterita. Yeah. Well, that was lively and uplifting. Okay. Now I'm going to have some chants for a segment. Remember. This is one of the tunes that I usually play on the piano, and so when I play it on the harp, it's like a brand new. Every moment be enlightened. In every situation, rise above it. In every adversity, see the gift of it all. Do a segment, do a segment, do a segment, do a segment. Nukpoo segment, Nukpoo segment, Nukpoo segment, Nukpoo segment. In every moment be enlightened. In every encounter see the true essence. In every situation rise above it. In every adversity see the gift of it all. Do a segment, do a segment, do a segment, do a segment. Nukpoo segment, Nukpoo segment, Nukpoo segment, Nukpoo segment. Do a segment, Nukpoo segment. Do a segment, Nukpoo segment. Do a segment, Nukpoo segment. All right. Never. Simple, are you doing okay? You need something? Yeah. Just a few more minutes. Okay. All right. Let's try this one for a segment in our set, the healing chant. This beautiful harp I got from the Temple of HetHeru in Edfu. So the translation for this one, and this is a healing chant for anyone needing healing, or if you know someone that's needing healing, you could type their name in the chat, and we'll send this prayer out to them. And you can also find it on YouTube and your favorite music platform if you want to learn it. Do a segment, do a segment, arimes, akujasene, do a segment. Do a segment, arimes, akujasene, do a segment, do a segment. Arimes, akujasene, do a Du har sett Artemis, Akucha Seneb, Akucha Seneb, Akucha Seneb, Akucha And the translation for that is Adorations to Goddess Sekhmet, Power of the Life Force Energy. Adorations to Goddess Aset, Lady of Wisdom and Healing Words of Power. Do for these children life, vitality, and health. And I just got the announcement. It is 10:36. It's the full moon. So this is a perfect time to transition into our wisdom teachings, because the wisdom teachings are about Lord Djehuty and HetHeru, and Lord Djehuty is represented by the full moon. So we are right on time. I tried something new this year, or this moment, and did the full moon transmission a few days ago and posted it early ahead of time so people could, enjoy it ahead of time. And so this is my full moon transmission tonight, because it feels weird not to be doing the sound vibrations during a celestial event. This is just a different type of celestial event. Okay, so what I've been doing with the wisdom teachings from the Goddess book. I don't know, something just went across my screen. And so what I've been doing is reading the parable. Sometimes I paraphrase it. Sometimes I just read it word for word and then just play music along with it. And then a chant or HetHeru usually comes afterwards. So if you recall in the last episode, Djehuty asked Sekhmet to not eat him, and to, that someday he could help her. And she was like, how can you help me? I'm the most powerful goddess, and I'm the most powerful of all the cosmic forces in creation. And he said, oh, well, you haven't heard about the tale between the mouse and the lion. Let me tell you as we, head back towards Kemet. Because, he was trying to get her to go back to Kemet. And so here we're picking up where we left off. Judy began to tell the parable as they walked towards Kemet. There was a lion who lived as a king. He was so powerful that all the other animals feared him. One day the lion came upon a panther who was badly wounded. The lion asked the panther who had injured him, and the panther told him that man was responsible for his injury. The lion never heard of an animal called man. He decided to hunt man. On the way to find man, the lion met a mule, an ox, a cow, a bear, and another lion. All of them had been outsmarted by man, even though they were more powerful than man. They all said man was the most cunning creature, even though he appeared to be feeble and weak. They told the powerful lion to stay away from man. On the way, the lion came across a small mouse. Without a thought, the lion raised a paw to crush the mouse, but the mouse pleaded for mercy and pledged to be the lion's friend in his time of need. The lion asked him, "How can you ever help me? I am more powerful than any creature." The mouse replied, "Do not be so sure of yourself. Sometimes the weak can help the powerful." So the lion let him go and went on his way. Soon after the encounter with the mouse, the lion fell into a pit and was tangled up in the net so strongly that he could not escape. The lion expected to die the next day when the man would find him. The lion heard a screeching little voice. It was a little mouse. The mouse worked upon the ropes all night, and before the man could come to check the net, the lion had been freed from the death trap. So, great lady, Judy begins. Every power will someday meet a higher power. The weak sometimes can help those who are strong. So, great lady, every power will someday meet a higher power. And you know the weak sometimes the weak can help those who are strong. Oh, great lady, every power will someday meet a higher power. And you know the weak can sometimes help those who are strong. Do a Djehuty, do a segment, do a Djehuty. Nagpusak man. Nagpu Djehuty. Nagpusak man. Dua Djehuty. Dua sak man. Dua Djehuty. Dua HetHeru. Nagpu Djehuty. Nagpu sak man. Nagpu Djehuty. Nagpu HetHeru. Nagpu Djehuty. Nagpu sak man. Nagpu Djehuty. Nagpu HetHeru. Oh, never. That was fun. All right, so this parable also brings to mind the third parable. Is it the third parable? Yes, where the a fish was eaten by a hawk, and the hawk was carried off by a lion, and the lion was carried off by a zephyr, a griffin, and it was this whole procession of animals getting caught by the bigger animal until finally the most powerful animal, the griffin, which was a lion with wings, came and devoured the lion. And the moral of that parable is goodness always. Let me. I don't want to misquote it. I don't want to misquote it. Okay, yeah, it wasn't the third parable, it was the second parable, so I'm glad I got the book. It was a fly was eaten by a lizard, which was eaten by a snake, and the snake was caught by the hawk, and the snake and the hawk fell into the sea, and then a fish swallowed the hawk and snake were followed by a fish, and then a bigger fish. The fish came to the shore, a lion grabbed it out of the sea, and then the griffin grabbed the lion. And the moral of that is the Divine Father rewards goodness with goodness and evil with evil. And in this manner, the balance of the universe is maintained by the great God. So the balance of the universe, in my opinion, is the griffin, who is the animal of the Creator, came and wiped out the ones that had, been killing and eating, which is kind of the vision or the method with Goddess HetHeru. Okay. So, melanated people, if I don't finish in the next 14 minutes, I will start another session. I'm so grateful that you're here with me. Thank you. So the next thing I wanted to do, first of all, acknowledge gratitude to the netters for these powerful teachings, and to the preceptors, Seba Man, Seba Jah. After hearing the parables all in a row like this, it's like, this reminds me of something. Of course, what does it remind you of? Aesop's Fables, right? And so, as it turns out, Aesop, come on, Wikipedia, where'd you go? Okay. Aesop, Greek, Alomok, I don't know what that is a Greek fabulist and storyteller credited with the number of fables now collectively known as Aesop's Fables. Oh, this is a different one. Although his existence remains unclear and no writings by him survive, numerous tales credited to him were gathered across the centuries and in many languages in a storyteller tradition that continues to this day. Many of the tales associated with him are characterized by anthropomorphic animal characters. So, one thing about Aesop is he was a slave with very curly hair. So, what does that make you think of? A slave during the time, a Greek slave, 620, 564 BC. BCE. And it started me thinking too, like, he probably got all these stories from Kemet. Just no description of him, a strikingly ugly slave who by his cleverness acquires freedom and becomes an advisor to kings and city-states. Okay, that was interesting. Then there's a timeline of Aesop's Fables, and one of these days I'm going to be able to show these slides. I know there's a way to do it with TikTok. I don't know how to do it on a live. But of course, Aesop was around the time of Herodotus, Hippocrates, who are these other guys? Plato, Sophocles, Euripides, Confucius, Buddha, Jeremiah, Hosea, Isaiah, Elisha, Hiram. It's got all these, philosophers that we're all familiar with, and we know that they all studied in ancient Kemet. And then this last one, site can't be reached. I wonder if my transmission is still going on. Yes, it is. Okay. All right. This one is on Aesop's Fables. Yes, and it describes him as Aesop, a slave and storyteller believed to have lived in ancient Greece between 625 64 BC. The fables originally belonged to the oral tradition and were not collected. Keep it up. And were not collected for some 3 centuries after Aesop's death. By that time, a variety of other stories, jokes, and proverbs were being ascribed to him, although some of that material was from sources earlier than him or came from beyond Greek cultural sphere. Kemet. The process of inclusion has continued until the present, with some of the fables unrecorded before the late Middle Ages and others arriving from outside Europe. Okay, so I just wanted to acknowledge that more than likely these fables came from Kemet. I never really thought about that before. 10 minutes to go. Apollonius of Tyana, who, if you read Professor Hilton Heltema's work, Apollonius of Tyana is who the stories associated with the life of Jesus Christ actually came from. That's why I thought this was interesting. First century philosopher is recorded as having said, like those who dine well off the plainest dishes, he made use of humble incidents to teach great truths, and after serving up a story, he adds to it the advice to do a thing or not to do it. Then, too, he was really more attached to truth than the poets are, for the latter do violence to their own stories in order to make them profitable. But he, by announcing a story which everyone knows not to be true, told the truth by the very fact that he did not claim to be reading real events. Earlier still, the Greek historian Herodotus, who's always quoted in as a Kemetic historian, in passing that Aesop, the fable writer, was a slave who lived in ancient Greek during the 5th century. Anyway, you get the idea. There's Plato writes about him, all the big guys. Okay, so that's all I wanted to say about that. And also the Proverbs of Amenemope. I'm pretty sure that Aesop's fables were based on the wisdom teachings of Amenemope as well. All right, so I'm going to close out with another rendition of Dua HetHeru Beheni, Dua HetHeru, Dua Sekmet Im Kemet, which is a chant that came through me on the first night that refers to the journey of HetHeru from Kemet to Nubia. And in Nubia, she lost her awareness of herself, her identity. And then on her journey, Djehuty convinced her to make this journey back to Kemet. And on the way back, she reclaimed her divinity. And by the time she got back to Kemet, she was HetHeru. And I'm always writing a new melody for this song. There we go. Let's start again. Never. All right. Thank you so much for staying with me this whole time. I'll be back tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. for the final installment of this session of HetHeru's journey from Nubia to Kemet. And if you'd like more information on the wisdom teachings, visit EgyptianYoga.com. More information on the Naturian calendar of holy days, visit TempleofAmun.com. More information on my music, tachia.com. More information on my wellness products and services, lightbeingwellness.com. And if you'd like to make an offering to our Mataji Temple of Divine Light, Healing, and Sweet Sounds, go to Cash App, $Amet El Ma'at, or paypal.me/Tachia Ahmet. All right, do a HetHeru, do a Djehuty, do a segment, and enjoy this wonderful full moon. It's cloudy right now, but I'm still going to enjoy the moon fullness. Hetep. Oops. Do a Hetep.